a special guest today, 49ers Rush host John Chapman, and we're going to do a fun exercise. The 49ers have obviously a 4-4 record, a pretty good roster, so we're going to do an all offense draft at the midseason mark based on his performances this year. Stay tuned.
Let's go get him. Let's go get him today, man. Let's go. Hey, dominate on 3. 1, 2, 3, dominate.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Chat popping in. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. John, how you doing, man? It's the bye week. We always think it's going to be a little more of a mellow week, but how you doing, guy?
Man, it's been an up and down season. There's no doubt about it. And I really do think the bye week always comes at the perfect time. And to go into this long 14-day break with good news on a high note, I think it's just refreshing. And so very excited about this. We're going to be doing a crazy fun experiment that we did in the off season. Shout out to Rohan for wanting to bring this up. I love this. And so Rohan, walk us through the experiment that we are doing today.
Oh, yeah. So if you guys don't remember from the offseason, me and John did an all-offense 49ers draft. I'm going to put it up on the screen here. Ooh. So we got every single position on offense, and we're adding a little bit of a twist because obviously we only have a 53-man roster as compared to the 90-man roster that we did have at the beginning of the year. But we're going to each go through every position, go through a bit of a draft, and try and come up with the best team. And you guys in the chat can give your opinions on who we should draft and your vote at the end of the draft to see who wins. A little bit of a fun experiment just to run down the positions. We're going to go with one quarterback, one running back, 2 receivers, a tight end, and then we're going to have a flex position, and then the 5 offensive linemen.
I like it. And so, okay, got a couple things we got to clarify here.
Let's do it.
What about players on injured reserve? Are they off limits, or is this just the Jimmy G and Brock Purdy show?
I think that we have to bring in the injured reserve players just to add a little twist to it, add a little spice. So, guys, injured reserve players are allowed as well as practice squad players to fill out the rosters. So those are the 2 stipulations.
There we go. Because technically Elijah Mitchell's still on injured reserve, but fully expect him to come back soon. So, Rohan, you got to get first pick, man. There's no way I can go first. You got to get it, man. You go first. Hats off to you.
Thank you. But first of all, I think I've got to go with who I deemed as the 49ers MVP this season thus far. And it's not in the player that many anticipated maybe to be at that position. Instead, it's number 2. I've got to go with Brandon Ayuk.
Whoa. All right. Talk about a shocker, which it's not a bad pick. I mean, he's different. There's no doubt about it. Very, very different. So, nice pick. So are we doing just back and forth, or are we snaking this? Do I get 2 picks? That's how we did in the summer.
Let's go with the snake. So you get 2, and then I'll go with 2 after that. Yeah.
All right. If that is the case, I am going Trent Williams, who got to put him out there at left tackle, which O-line's going to get a little weird because there's only 8 offensive linemen on the active roster. We got to have 10. We'll make it work with practice squad and injured reserve. But I'm going Trent Williams, and, man, I'm going to be honest. I know people might disagree with this. I don't know. Your
controversial pick John. Are we getting controversial John today?
I'm going George Kittle. I think that he has been so valuable. And Christian McCaffrey, if you watch any of the big runs last week, every single one of them is right off the rear end of 85. I'm going George Kittle. I want Trent, and I want Kittle out there. That guarantees my run game is going to be solid. My pass protection is going to be good on the left side. I just think Kittle's just too damn important. I just think that he is.
I think that's a great pick because Kittle's value has been understated as a blocker. He's such a good run blocker, good in pass protection as well, and a threat, obviously, in the receiving game. You've got really the guy who can do it all on that team. And because you went Trent Williams, I got to go with who I believe has been the second best offensive
Ah,
lineman at that guard spot. It's
I
got
already
to
know who it
be
is.
Mr. Aaron Banks this year, the guy who has emerged really erasing the thought of Laken Tomlinson from 49ers fans' mind because of how good he's been this season. And so to me, I think Aaron Banks is a must. And for the second player, it's got to be the guy who's been the flashiest 49er in his very short
Oh,
tenure with the 49ers. I understand that we've got a couple of good running backs. Got to go, though, with Christian McCaffrey, the guy who really had a huge impact on this past game with the 49ers.
yeah. And so, you're starting off, you've got CMC Ayuk, which I love. You've got Banks. You're kind of shoring up a lot of different things about your team. I love it. And I mean, if you went CMC, I have no choice. I was going to go Debo or CMC. So I got to go Debo here, get him on
Yeah.
board, which is just, I don't know. I think it's so important, to get that stud. And, since you got CMC, oh man, I don't know. I'm stuck here, but I'm going to go Elijah Mitchell. I just think I'm so excited. I think we forget how good he is. The problem has been injuries. He's missed the most time. I mean, it's been a very short career, but he's missed way too many games. Hopefully he can bounce back and, he doesn't have to shoulder the load. He
Exactly.
do for the first time in his career. And so I got Elijah Mitchell, Debo, Kittle, and Trent, and just building that quarterback proof type team. So we'll see how that shakes out.
Yeah, I mean, because you went Elijah Mitchell, one of the more talented players who I likely would have placed at my flex, I've got to go with the other player who is just super versatile. I love the versatility that this team could have. You picked Mr. Versatile and George Kittle, so I've got to go with Kyle Juszczyk here with my
Oh,
next selection. A guy who currently is nursing that broken finger injury, missed the Rams game, is expected back this next week from the broken finger injury, and I think that he just does so much for the offense. I think you got to go with Kyle Juszczyk here as one of the spots.
how crazy was it that he reset his finger on the sideline, went back in and played? Like the only reason why he missed time is because of the surgery. It wasn't because of his hand. The dude went
Yeah,
back in and played.
he just like, yeah, that's nothing. Just please fix it up. I understand the pain. It's no
Ah,
big deal. And like, I went back and watched the play where he got injured. Dude got that thing stuck in a helmet and then just
yep.
kept running. He was just moving as if nothing happened.
Oh, he's a beast, man. That dude, he's an absolute beast.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think for my second pick, it's a tough one because obviously the 49ers do have a couple of receivers. I think I've got to go probably, though, with another offensive lineman. I like Aaron Banks. I like me some youngsters. So I've got to go with the other guy who has been
Woo.
rotating a bit, but he's been a guy who I like and I think projects very well for the future, Spencer Burford.
Hey, your guards are set, man. And so CMC Ayuk, Kyle Juszczyk, Banks Burford. That's a good looking team right there, man. Man, that is a good team. So you know what? I'm gonna get a little weird here.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna get weird. I'm going back to back offensive linemen as well. I am going Daniel Brunskill at the center spot where he should
Okay.
be playing right now. And
Uh
at
huh.
right tackle, I'm not going McGlinchey. I'm going Colton McKivitz. And so these are the types of moves I
Whoa.
want to see. Now I get it. I get McGlinchey is probably a better player. However, I really wish that they would treat that right tackle position with a little very similar to how they're treating the right guard position, that it's rotating in. I wish Colton McKivitz would get one out of every 3 drives at that right tackle spot to see if that would allow McGlinchey to not have those huge disparities where he just totally flakes out for a
Right.
drive or
Hmm.
2.
Hmm.
So, I've got Trent at left tackle, Brunskill at center, McKivitz at right tackle. I am trying to alleviate. I don't want those terrible. I don't know. I think they're 2 of the biggest weaknesses on this team, center and right tackle. And so, yeah, I'm trying to steer away from that.
John goes bold,
Yeah, man,
picks
let's
two
go.
players that aren't starters and
That's right,
places them
baby.
over the 2 starters. That's a great pick. And because I'm getting clamors from the chat, don't draft Brendel. You lose if you draft Brendel. Guess what? I will not draft Jake Brendel in this draft. I assure everybody here. And because I'm afraid that John might go for one of these players at guard, with my next pick, I'm going to go with another guy who I think the 49ers are a bit higher on. At the center position, I've got to go right now with Jason Poe. It could have been Nick
Oh,
Zakelj, but I like Jason Poe more in training camp when I went and watched. So I'm going to go with Jason Poe. And now you've got a Banks, Poe, Burford interior. The interior has been the stronger part at times for the 49ers this year. That's a pretty good interior for me.
I freaking love that. And there's a strong possibility, at least the hope is, this would be the future. That or Nick Zakelj, you could throw him in there too, who's been on the active roster, kind of sleeping for sure. But I don't know, man. What does it say about, both of us? We didn't talk about this, but neither one of us taking Brindle. We watch a lot of film, us two, and
Yeah.
there's a reason why he is not going to be selected. I don't know, man.
No,
That's crazy.
there is a reason, and it's also crazy how the 49ers offensive line has arguably been one of the better position groups despite some inconsistencies with certain players on that line.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right. I'm going. Is it my turn now?
Oh,
I think
wait.
it's my
I
turn.
think I have
You have
one
one
more
more?
pick.
Oh, sorry. I
And
got excited.
so with the receiver position, it's been disappointing, I'd have to say, with the backups. Ray McLeod, Jawan Jennings, and overall, I don't think it has been that great of a performance. But if I had to pick with a third, who that third receiver would be behind Samuel and Ayuk, I do have to go with Ray McLeod, who's been an
Ooh.
underrated blocker for the 49ers this year, but also has been a solid enough receiver at times. Yes, he's missed a couple of big plays. That's unfortunate, but overall, he's been good, especially in short yardage situations, yards after the catch, and doesn't have nearly as high of a drop rate that Jawan Jennings has.
And blocking. He's been feisty out there, man.
Yeah,
That's a good pick.
he has that grit to him, so that's a good part for the 49ers.
All right, I got to do it. He's injured. I don't care. Give me Trey Lance. I want Trey Lance.
There goes the first quarterback.
We're Mr. Miyagiing the ankle. We get to see this running game, so I'm putting Trey Lance out there for sure. Now, I only have one wide receiver, which is a major, major problem. I'm going to add Jawan Jennings to Debo, and so I don't like this. I'm going to be really, really honest with you. My skill position, I like Kittle. I love Mitchell. I love Debo. I don't like Jennings being the number 2 guy. So that's a problem. But I like the Trey Lance, Jawan Jennings right here. I'm going to force you to take Jimmy Garoppolo, who's been good. And I think a big reason why we both waited on quarterback is because Garoppolo's been all right. He fits the system, and hopefully that arrow's trending upwards.
Yep, and that is exactly why I'm going to take Brock Purdy at quarterback here.
Oh!
As my
Are you really?
No, I
Oh
can't.
my gosh.
I can't. No. A lot of people like Brock Purdy, and I mean, he's not a bad prospect for a 7th round pick, but I've watched Brock Purdy a good amount. I am not the biggest fan. I don't think that he's ever going to start over Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't think the 49ers should ever change to Brock Purdy this year. So instead, I've got to go with Jimmy G as my pick since you went Trey Lance, and that leaves me with 3 positions left, the offensive line and at tight end. I think I'm going to go this is a tough one. But because I'm afraid you'll take him for your flex, and because I think he's the best option available, I'm going to go Ross Dwelly for my tight end, a guy
Good
who
tape, man.
doesn't drop the ball.
Just does whatever you need. And jack of all trades guy. He's not the best blocker, not the best route runner. He just does whatever you need, and he's going to get you that. Don't ask for more than that. But, man, I love me some Ross Dwelly so much. Yeah, you're solid, man. Your team's looking good. So let's see here. I got 3 picks. Let's shore up this offensive line. And, again, I'm getting creative, even more creative. I'm going to add – I want Jaylon Moore at right tackle, where he should have been playing right guard, where he should have been playing his entire freaking career. That's where he belongs. Should not be playing tackle, but he did fill in well a few games.
I agree.
I want him at guard. When they drafted him, they said they want him at guard. They just haven't kept him there. And at left guard, I'm going Nick Zakelj.
Okay.
Like I believe in his upside. And so my offensive line, left tackle Trent, left guard Nick Sakale, center Brunskill, right guard Jalen Moore, right tackle McKivitz. I think I'm the only one that's going to fall in love with this group. This group just makes me so happy. And I know this is where all these players should be playing, by the way. This is where they all should be playing. It's not
I
where they are
agree.
playing, but it's where they should be playing.
Yeah, no, I think that this is probably going to be the stronger offensive line. And that's a good unit here because those are, I believe, the 8 players already that are on the 49ers 53-man roster. I think we
Oh,
are. Oh, I think we have 7 actually because Blake Hance was cut. But these are the players on the 53-man roster for the 49ers. And that leaves me with a pickle because do I have to dive in to the
oh.
practice squad, which might not be a good sign. So, unfortunately, Jake Brendel not being picked, he's the only other guy, is going to cost
No,
somebody.
no, don't put him on there. No, there's
I
better
am definitely
options.
not going to go with Jake Brendel. Unfortunately, that leaves me with Leroy Watson. If you're asking who,
Whoa.
that's an interesting question. But Leroy Watson is now going to be my left tackle for the 49ers, while Keith Ishmael of San Diego State is going to be my right tackle. So it's going to be an interesting offensive line behind
Man,
a
I'm gonna say
quarterback that
this.
doesn't move.
I like Leroy Watson, but why not put him at right tackle next to Spencer Burford, his
That
college
is
teammate?
actually it. Guess what, Keith? I'm sorry, I gotta put Leroy there because
Yes.
them two done played at UTSA
UT
together.
the fighting
Yeah.
Roadrunners, locking down the right side of the offensive line. And then who'd you put at left tackle?
I put Ismail at left tackle,
Yeah,
the
Keith.
6'3", 210 left tackle.
Wow, 6 there you go, man. That's yeah, I think the offensive line, that's you got Keith Ishmael, Banks, Poe, Burford, Watson. You locked up the guards. But man, you're going to be a run blocking machine though, cuz all those guys are just like small, quick run blockers. The outside zone's going to
Yeah.
be immaculate there. So
Hey,
now
it's
for
an
me,
outside zone only scheme with CMC. Brandon Ayuk
there
can
we
block,
go.
McLeod can block, only
Uh,
outside zone. That's what we're gonna do.
I don't know what to do with my flex spot. Okay, my wide receivers are Debo and Jennings, so I could go Danny Gray and help that out. He's got 0 catches on the year, but I have Trey Lance, so he can't throw the deep ball. Or do I go TDP and just say, "Hey, man, we're just
Oh,
gonna freaking run the ball like crazy people." So I think, I think I'm gonna go. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go. Oh, that stinks. That hurts.
that's tough.
Danny Gray's been so bad. He can't block.
Yeah,
His routes are bad. I don't think I could do that. I think I'm going to go TDP. I'm going TDP as my flex. I'm putting
there
that
we
there.
go. We got Ty Davis
I'm just going to
Price
mash, man. We're just
as the
mashing.
flex. And here are our teams. This is a very interesting draft to say the least, with a couple of names that we probably weren't thinking of before the draft. But this is a good setup for the offense. Do you want to do defense as well today, John?
I don't have it set up, but yes. The answer is yes.
Guess
100%
what?
yes.
As I set it up, we'll talk a little bit about the offense. We'll
Uh,
go to the defense, and then we'll figure it out.
let's do it. Yes. Heck yeah, man. So we're going to let's do the starting 2 defensive ends, 2 defensive tackles, 2 linebackers and a flex spot. We'll do that. So the nickel or third
Yeah,
down backer or
because
whatever. And then 2
exactly.
safeties. 2 and corners. There we go. I like that, man.
This
This would
is
be fun. So I
the
did not
defense,
make
especially, is going to be the fun part. For sure.
right. Now we do have to ask these people. They have to pick a favorite offensively. So as we're doing this,
I'll
let me
put
go
the
through this
drafts
team.
back up. Here we
Yeah,
go.
there we
And
go.
so,
Can you
guys,
zoom in a little bit more? Is it possible? Just is
let's
that
figure
is
it out.
sorry, I'm terrible at this. I'm so glad you're controlling this and not me. So my team, you guys got to put whose offense you like better so far. Oh, that's perfect.
There
I've
we go.
got Trey Lance, Elijah Mitchell, Debo, Juwan Jennings, Kittle, TDP, Trent Williams, Nick Zakill, Brunskill, Jalen Moore, McKivitz, Rohan, he's rolling out, Jimmy Garoppolo, CMC, Ayuk, Ray, Ross Dwelly, Kyle Juszczyk, Keith Ishmael, Banks, Jason Poe, Burford, Leroy Watson. So all right, yeah, it's a You guys got to put in the chat whatever channel you're watching on. And let me just say this. If you're not subscribed to both channels, you're doing yourself a disservice. Help us out. So if you follow me, go follow Rohan's channel. If you follow Rohan, come follow my channel so that we can do this.
100%.
Josh is saying Rohan better skill position, guys. John better O-line. Ooh, okay. All right. I'm cool with
Okay.
that.
I think the
That's
O-line probably ends up being the tiebreaker because you do have Trent there. But yeah, it'll be I'd like to see these teams play off in some 11-on-11 football.
It'd be fun. It would be fun. It would be fun. Now for defense, do I go first this time, or do you want to go first again? I'll give you
Let's
the
have
option.
you go first because I got to go first the last time. Let's have you go first this time. And yeah, we'll go from there.
I'm going Nick Bosa. There's no. I'm not. I mean, that's easy. This one was just. I felt like offense was probably difficult. But yeah, I'm going Nick Bosa.
Okay, there we go. We have Nick Bosa for John to start off this draft. Obviously, potential DPOY this year. So very good candidate. And he is in the mix despite missing one game.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's tied the league leaders amongst sacks, even though he's played one fewer game. Tackles for losses are up there, quarterback hits, and he's still being double teamed like crazy. I think all he's missing is that like huge primetime TV moment. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Yeah.
so guess what? We got a Sunday night football game against Herbert coming up soon. So let's see if he can kind of escalate that and vault himself up there.
I agree. And to me right now, there is one player that I'm going to leave out, but in my opinion, I do think the 49ers have 3 MVPs thus far on the season. Nick Bosa is certainly one of them, and my 2 picks are going to be my other 2 MVPs for the year,
Oh,
and it's actually one at each position group. Linebacker, I've got to go with All-Pro Fred. I think he's had a very good season. Couple of games where he was a little shaky in play during that little stretch, obviously the Chiefs game and the Falcons game, but a great game against the Rams, really has been solid all year. And then the second one's going to be at the most, like, in a way, vulnerable position coming into the year, a position where the 49ers were struggling in years past and insulated the position. I've got to go Travarius Ward. I think he's been my second MVP for the 49ers.
interesting. You would put Charvarius Ward, which he was going to be my pick. When you said MVPs, I thought you meant Hufanga in one.
That is the one player that I said it's somewhat controversial, but I don't
Yeah.
think he's the MVP compared to these guys.
All right. All right. Well, if that's the case, if you're doing that, I'm going Hufanga 100%. Just because, again, I think the explosive plays, the game-changing, literal definition game changer. Yeah, I'm going Hufanga. So I'm starting my team off with Nick Bosa. I'm getting Hufanga on the back end. I'm going Eric Armstead.
That's a
I
great pick. Yeah.
I know he's injured now, and a lot of people keep saying it's that foot. It's not his foot. It's the other ankle. He had the
He
foot
has like
issue.
3 injuries at the same
Yeah.
time.
He came back and then hurt the other ankle, which I don't know if that's good or bad, but it's not compounding injuries on the same lower leg.
Right.
That's kind of the issue. So I got Bosa, Armstead, Hufanga as my trifecta to build this defense.
I think that's a great start. And so I'm going to continue because you're building that strong defensive line. I'm going to go the opposite way, the un-49ers way. I've got to do the cornerback duo, the one that
Oh,
really
I was hoping you wouldn't do
bolstered that
this.
49ers defensive back unit this year in Travarius Ward and Emmanuel Mosley as my first pick. Mosley was on path to earning a really good payday before that injury, and now I think I'm going to set him there at that at that cornerback position.
Yeah, nothing. You're building like a Belichick would love, spending money at the linebacker and cornerback position. Bill Belichick would be pleased.
Yeah. And at that second defensive or at that defensive tackle position, a guy who has played, been versatile, been in and out this year, guy who's been in for mainly those pass rushing situations, and a guy who's had an underrated season, kind of a breakout season in his regard. Charles Omenihu is who I'm going to go with at that
And you're
defensive
putting him at
tackle.
defensive tackle.
I'm going to do the versatile area part. Going to go with that pass rush, put him at defensive tackle.
He's been so good. He really, really has been just really, really good. And so, yeah, you can't be upset with that. I like the way that you've got this going. It's looking really, really good, man. Now I think I'm disliking this position that I'm in now. I will. My first pick is pretty easy. I'm going Dre Greenlaw. I thought he has been absolutely incredible. You look at the first month of the season. Um, I think it was like second or third in total tackles, flying all over the place. Whenever he went out in the Kansas City game, that's when everything fell apart. So I'm going Dre Greenlaw there. Um, Yikes. This is where it starts to get rough. I think the next best player, I'm going to go Diamador Lenore
Okay.
as one of my corners, just so I get a guy. I want him at the nickel spot, is where I would prefer for him to be, but it's not going to happen because you took the 2 stud corners. So I got to get at least one corner before you snipe all 3. So good picking there. So I go with Greenlaw and I go Lenore. Big
I
play
think those
Dre.
are
I
two
see you,
good
Ty.
picks. Yeah. Big play Dre has been huge for the 49ers this year, almost to the level of Fred Warner, and maybe in some games even better than Fred Warner with his play after a poor week 1. Been pretty darn solid after that. So a good pickup there. I think that defensive line is where I'm looking again. And so Javon Kinlaw, what a
Ooh,
talent. Really a good talent. But unfortunately, I just can't depend on Javon Kinlaw. And I understand we're not doing the IR part, but Javon Kinlaw just in
same.
general, the dependability is too tough. So I'm going to go with an underrated piece again. And I'm going to go with Kevin Givens at defensive tackle here. And so that will give me a strong defensive tackle there that matches Charles Omenihu, 2 somewhat undersized players, but guys that have played a good role for the 49ers this year.
Yeah, I like that, man. Omenihu and Givens on the inside. Yeah, that's good. It's really good. Now it's not as stout as you would like, but it's still really good.
Yeah, definitely. And with another pick, to kind of put you in a bit of a spot right now,
No, don't do it, Rohan.
the flex, the nickel corner. You said
You
that could be Diamondo Lenore.
ah,
I really like to try some experimentation. The 49ers, there have been so many questions on how would they be if the 3 best corners played on the field at the same time. I want to try it out. Jason Verrett, he's been obviously hasn't played all year. Jason Verrett though is going to be my nickelback. That's a good spot right there for
I'm
me.
hurting. I'm hurting here, man. I ain't gonna lie.
I
Oh,
said the 49ers philosophy took it in a piece of paper and threw it out the window. 3 cornerbacks.
yeah, you did, man. Well done. Well done. So if you're gonna do that, all right, cool. Let's play this game, Rohan. Let's go. I'm doing exactly what
Uh-oh.
the 49ers are doing, and I don't even like it. I'm going Tyshawn Gibson and Jimmy Ward back-to-back picks. I'm loading up on the back end, so I got Hufunga, I got Tyshawn Gibson, and I've got
And
my
then so
flex
do you want me to
already
put one of
filled.
them at your flex?
Yeah, I want Jimmy Ward and nickel. I don't care. We can move them
That makes
back. I want
sense.
Jimmy Ward out there, but no, I want Ward at safety. I want
Okay.
Ward at
Okay.
safety.
So
Just got
then we'll put
I got
Gibson
put on
in the
tilt. You put
flex.
me on tilt, and now this is
Oh
what
no.
happens, man.
Did I
You did
just
this to
trigger
me.
John? That might have not been a great move. I might have just
Uh,
triggered John. But
so I'll take Kufunga Ward as my safeties, and I'm putting Tayshawn Gibson as that nickel guy. I'm cool with that.
yeah, I think that that's a good move, and because of that, I need to bolster the remaining parts of my team to kind of match that intensity. So at defensive end, I'm going to go with one of the best run defending guys, not only on the 49ers, but in the NFL in general, Samson Ebukam,
Yeah, he's
a
been
guy
good.
who has lived up to his $8.25 million cap hit this year. So it's been a good job by Samson Ebukam in general. And then at the second defensive end spot or at the linebacker spot, I've got options. I think at defensive end, the 49ers are so loaded that I can wait a minute. I've got to go, though, with Aziz Al-Shire, the guy who the 49ers, in a way, have missed at times when playing some of the backups. Oren Burks has had some good snaps.
Yeah,
TFF, not so much always, but I want to have that lockdown linebacker duo so that I can be in nickel a good amount.
yeah. Well said. Well said. I mean, you're just getting solid, solid, solid. Like you don't have any bad position plays. I do. You do not, which I like. I'm glad you didn't say this name because I was going to go Drake Jackson around earlier. So I'm going Drake Jackson to put opposite Bosa because I think that's what it should look like anyway. I really want that spot filled there. You went Aziz. Man, I was hoping to get Aziz there, but that's all right. So I got Drake Jackson. My other corner spot, man. Yeah, I'll just fill that there. I'm going to put Samuel Womack, which definitely is not where I want to be, but that's okay. So my corners are Demo and Samuel Womack. Not ideal. Not ideal. But I do like my ends in Bosa and Drake Jackson. I feel pretty good about that.
All right. So you've got Samuel Womack and then Drake Jackson, obviously been a great revelation for the 49ers this year.
Yeah.
3 sacks, tied with Charles Omenihu, tied for third on the team. A good pick there for Drake Jackson, a player who obviously has played very well for the 49ers this year. Now, moving forward, I've got Ebukam, Omenihu, Givens. So I've got one spot on the defensive line and 2 spots at safety. I see that you still have one spot at defensive tackle. There are a couple of players, obviously, that can fill this hole when you talk about Hassan Ridgeway for you. You've got Kerry Hyder. You've got a couple of players, Kamoko Ture, Jordan Willis. And so that's where I'm kind of looking for at these picks. I did put Charles Omenihu at D tackle, trying to experiment. Maybe should have put him at the edge and had Ridgeway be there, but instead, I'm going to go here with a guy who is also versatile, and I'm going to go here with Kerry Hyder. Not my favorite player in general, but he's the guy who can fit the versatile role. And so all 4 of these players, in a way, can be movable to some other position rather than just their one position.
Right. Yeah. No, well said. It looks good. It looks really good.
Oh, do I have one more? I forgot. I got one more, right? Yeah, I do have one more. So at the safety spot, you took not 1, not 2, but 3 of the guys.
You're going to
took
get 2 of my
3.
favorite players of all time, though, which I'm
Yeah.
super excited about these kids that you're about to grab.
So I'm going to get the special teams gunners now. So I've got a duo pretty much that I'll draft, not with 1 pick here and 1 at last, but I'm going to start with Tarvarius Moore, who I thought was an important player early in the year for the 49ers at safety. Moore had been one of the top gunners for the team weeks 1 to 3. The 49ers special teams unit, as a result, was a little better than it was from weeks 3 to 6. So that's who I'm going with at my first pick.
I like it. I like it. Now, who's going to – is it my turn now?
Yeah, you get the last 2.
Okay.
Or you get 2, and then I get the last one.
All right, I got to finish out my O-line. I'm going Ridgeway. I think that he has been really good in stopping the run, which I like. So Armstead and Ridgeway starting at defensive tackles, which okay. And I think, again, neither one of us picking Kinlaw. I think it'd be great if he was there. But, man, the quote of this is just something I've got to learn to deal with now. It broke my heart hearing that, man.
And it's unfortunate because he's such a talented player, but unfortunately probably will have injuries that linger on for the remainder of his career.
Yeah, probably. So if we could just almost treat him like Philly treats Davis, right? Where look, dude, you get 15 to 20 snaps a game. That's it. And if you could just do that, man, I'll take it. Did he live up to the hype and all those things? No. But yeah, I'll take it. And for linebacker, I see Ty. I wanted to go.
Let's build up the momentum. You've got 3 picks here that you could have. Oren Burks. You could have wanted DFF, or
I would not take
Marcelino
DFF.
McCrary Ball. So who is it?
Wanted to go Marcelino McCrary Ball. You know me, I'm a young guy. I want to build.
Yeah.
I want to build. I'm not a young guy. I'm old, but I want to build with these young guys. But Oren Burks is the 2nd highest rated defensive player on the year for the 49ers.
Whoa, okay.
From Pro Football Focus. He played lights out this last week with probably 3 or 4 highlight reel plays. I know everybody wants to focus on Fred Warner making that leaping hit, which was awesome. But Oren Burks, man, in the goal line, that dude showed out. So I got to give the nod here to Burks. So my 2 linebackers would be Dre Greenlaw and Burks, and my flex is going to be Tayshaun Gibson, who's had 2 bad weeks, but I don't mind him coming in as a 4-3, that 3rd linebacker. I don't mind it. I don't like it too much against speedier slot guys. But But that's okay. I'm cool with this. I'm all right with
Yeah.
this.
And I mean, either way, you've got such a versatile trio with your flex and your two safeties that you could implement several different strategies onto how to use those three players together. You could have Ward in the slot. You could have Gibson be a big nickel. You could even go with Hufanga as a linebacker at times, as a sub linebacker, and have those two in the back end. So I think that definitely is a pretty solid lineup. And for my left safety spot, I've got two picks here between George Odom and between Dante Johnson. Me personally,
You
I
don't
want
want to
those
tap into
guys.
the practice squad? You don't want to mess with none of them? You're not feeling
Now
it?
there are some very interesting players on the practice squad. I think there are guys like Taylor Hawkins who I did like in training camp. Obviously, Quantrez Knight, a good defensive back. I don't know if I think he can match well in safety. I even suggest that he could, but for now, I've got to go with the dependable player. If it was only George
Gotcha.
Odom, I would have probably went with one of the guys. But I like guys who can cover. Dante Johnson is always dependable, reliable. That guy who will be on the 49ers roster until he's 97 years old. So I've got to go with him and make sure I have a fairly strong a back end. Obviously, a little bit less pressure on him given that I have a top three of the top three corners on the team, but a solid guy there to man the back end and really give some flexibility overall.
Yeah, I like your team. And so before I want to put these teams up there. You guys tell us which defense you like, and then I want to get to some of these questions in the chat. I
Let's
got to
do
go
it.
pick little Chapman up here in less than 10 minutes, so we're going to do a lightning round. So Rohan's team, starting up front, Kerry Hyder, Omenihu, Givens, Ebukam, just solid run defense. Oh my gosh. Linebackers, Warner, Aziz. Corners are the strength of your team. Charvarius Ward, Emmanuel Mosley, Verrett in the slot, the flex spot. And then you got Tarvarius Moore and Dante Johnson. So you built through the secondary and linebacker position.
Yeah.
My team built up front. Bosa, Armstead, Ridgeway, Drake Jackson. Linebackers, Greenlaw and Burks. My corners, the suspect, Demo and Samuel Womack with Tayshaun Gibson as my flex. And my safeties, Jimmy Ward and Talanoa Hufanga. So throw that up in the chat. Let's see who you thought won the defense. I want to get to this question from 49ers Faithful Forever. What's up, Josh? He says, do we let DFF and Aziz walk at the end of this year?
Now, I think this is a very interesting question. And honestly, right now, I think the answer is yes. And the reason being, the 49ers do well in developing the linebackers. Yes, it could be attributed to the to D'Amico Ryans, a former linebacker and a guy who's done very well with that unit, being there, and he might be gone. But you do have players waiting in the walks, and I think the 49ers, Aziz Al-Shire will likely price out of their price range. Demetrius Flanagan-Fouts, a good contributor, been a solid guy on special teams, could be probably get him back for the minimum or whatever that contract may be. But if that is higher, then I think that it'll be unfortunate. That's why they signed Oren Burks to a multi-year deal and why they have guys like Marcelino McCrary-Ball waiting in the loop.
I think, yeah, the fact that you have, again, these are all players under contract at the linebacker position. Warner, Greenlaw, Burks, Marcelino McCrary-Ball, Curtis Robinson. You already have five
Curtis
guys.
Robinson, yeah.
And so, athletic-wise, Curtis Robinson and Marcelino McCrary-Ball are literally Fred Warner clones, which doesn't make sense. But they went out and targeted these undrafted free agents. Marcelino McCrary-Ball got the biggest signing bonus of any undrafted free agent on the 49ers team. They targeted him and paid to get him. So I think that's what they want to stick with, this high athletic, large-bodied linebacker, and DFF does not fit that prototype. And Aziz is going to get paid somewhere else. So we'll take that for what it is.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that's a good question and a good
NFL's
answer.
better if he's starting. He doesn't need to be a number
Very
3
true.
linebacker.
Very true. Very true.
And if the Niners would have signed Aziz and let Dre walk, that would have been fine too. Like there's not a wrong play here. I've been a Dre Greenlaw guy forever just because I think there's certain things that he does more consistently than Aziz. But Aziz is incredible. He's incredible. I think all three of them are top 25 linebackers in this league. That's how good they are.
Yeah. 49er Media here says, crazy none of y'all picks Kalia Davis at defense tackle. he's a guy who probably comes on the rise over the next season or so. I don't know if he plays in 2022. I don't think they have the roster space anyway to hold him, but a guy who could potentially be a sleeper later on.
Man, if he comes back and starts looking good, why not bring him back in December? If he could just come in and be a run
Yeah.
stuffer, which is kind of what he was.
And what the
Well,
49ers need right now, in a way.
yeah. I mean, at a huge position of need. So I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I like Clea Davis. I want to see what he could do first. These other guys we've all kind of seen.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good question. Good point.
Adam here with an interesting idea. Y'all should make your own point system and play your teams against each other for the rest of the year. I want to see these matchups. Well, that's why we do this fun, just to see, think about it a little different way. Go with different teams and really get our GM caps on for a little bit.
Yeah, we'll see here. We'll see here. So I like it, man. This is fun. I really enjoyed this, Rohan.
Yeah, no, me
And
too. And I really,
looking at
really
these
thank you for
teams, I'm
coming on
just
as
like,
well.
woo, woo, woo.
Yeah, no. But real quick, I do want to give a shout out here. Chat Jay said, like, subscribe, Patreon. This is the way. For those of you that don't know, I'm sure a lot of you know, based on John's content, puts a lot of great content on Patreon. So be sure to like, subscribe, and go hit up his Patreon, because that's where you see a lot of the extra content where you get to go into the mind of John and really see where his thoughts are.
It's a dark place. It is a
It's a
dark
dark
place.
place.
But yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, just patreon.com/49ers Rush podcast. Every single offensive, defensive, special team snap from the last 2.5 years, all 22 broken down. As soon as you sign up, you get access to all that. And we're going to have a Zoom hangout this weekend. So I'll be announcing that. Probably going to be Sunday. Got to talk to the wifey. She's been busy. I got to make sure I don't double schedule something. But we'll have a Zoom hangout where we can hang out and just enjoy the bye week of non-craziness this Sunday night.
That'll be a fun one. So be sure you guys go on to that Patreon and go hang out with him on Sunday. And do you got any more Rush events coming up soon? I know the 49ers have a bye week. I mean, have a good amount of home games in the next couple of games.
Yeah, so we're traveling every road game. So we're doing the Mexico City trip, 49ersrushroadtrip.com.
Okay.
So yeah, we've got team hotel, or we've got the hotel locked up with discounted rates. We're all staying at the Marriott Reforma. So if you go to 49ersrushroadtrip.com, click on the Mexico City game, you see the link that expires the 9th. But yeah, we're taking charter buses to our party, charter buses to the game and back. That way you don't have to worry about safety, whatever. We got you. We're spending the whole time together. So every road game plus the Miami Dolphins game, we've got events at 49ersrushroadtrip.com.
Yeah. Real quick before we get out today, I see this from Smokin' Niner Guy. Happy Saturday from Okinawa. If you're tuning in from Okinawa, that's an amazing thing. And thank you guys. Thank you for tuning in on that Saturday morning for you guys.
Dude, love it, man. Love it. That's awesome. Well, Rohan, I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for this opportunity. It's always fun to do stuff together. Big fan of what you do. I wish I was a Wisconsin Badgers fan. Why can't you cover the Texas Longhorns, man? That's what
Maybe
I need.
I transfer to Texas. Maybe I cover the Longhorns.
Anyway,
But
man, thank you so much,
John,
brother.
yeah, of course. Thank you. It's obviously a blast every time we get to talk. So thank you for coming on and sharing your time with us. And thank you guys so much in the chat. It's been a fun time, and we'll see you guys next time.